Welcome to Look Behind the Curtains, everybody. How are we doing? Ooh. I am your man, David Nelson.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday, all. And primetime player right here.
It's Bill. And why don't we say Happy Thursday?
I know we don't post it until Monday.
We should probably say Happy Monday.
Happy day.
Happy day.
Whatever
day.
Happy Thursday when we record it. It's Happy Monday when people say it.
Anyway.
And Big Star.
Hey, what's up?
How we doing?
I'm doing all right. I
Special
love
guest
this
today.
guy today.
That's right. Wait, it is looking like overcast, but
it's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah,
It's
muggy and nasty.
But it looks
not
good.
really good there.
It looks good.
Our man, Mike Pickering here, coming to join us and hanging
Howdy.
out for the day. How are we doing,
Hey,
Mike?
how you doing? I'm doing really well. This is fun. It seems
Oh,
exciting.
it's going to get a lot
Oh,
more
it gets
fun.
better.
When these two open up on me, that's when the
All
floodgates open.
Feel free to gang up on Dave with us. We
Okay,
totally
that sounds
Yes.
We always bring everybody in with us. We're
That's
very
a guarantee-
inclusive.
That's a guarantee of a return trip.
You know it.
Oh yeah, believe me, people are. There's a waiting list to come back and point out the
Wow.
the downside of my
got
life and whatever. So
Yeah.
Are we going with the human sacrifice?
it's quite a list.
It's kind of like a verbal rage room. You get to come get in line and instead of going there and breaking TVs and stuff, you just get to come here and talk shit on Dave.
Awesome.
Dude, we should do an outing at a rage room sometime.
Where you get to break the cars and that stuff.
Yeah, everything. You just get a bat and you smash the whole room out.
Could you see us? Could you see us in an escape room? Though y'all be sitting there running in circles, going, "I
God.
can't get out! I can't get out!"
Because Dave would be like,
we would die.
He'd be like sitting on top of the key, like, I don't know where the keys are.
We would die in the poor escape
We would hella
room.
die in there.
Would that be worse than what happens here every week?
You sit in on a key, maybe.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
The rage room used to be the rock and roller hotel room.
Ooh.
They'd tear it up.
That's true. That's true.
Oh,
Hey.
$1 million and come back in next year.
Yeah, right.
There's probably a long list of people to do that.
Oh,
to.
God,
It's on there, yeah.
So, all right. Well, Big Star.
Yes.
I believe you said you had a WTF and a Tell Me
I
Something
do.
Good.
Which order do you want them in?
You tell me.
Okay. Well, we'll start
And
with
everybody else.
We'll start with the WTF, and then we'll move on to the something that's better.
Okay.
Okay. Have you guys heard of Spencer Cox?
Mm-mm.
Nope.
He is the.
I'm avoiding the
y'all
10-year-old
went
jokes.
there.
I'm avoiding the 10-year-old jokes.
Okay, no,
So far.
because it's going to come out. Here
Oh,
we go.
Lord.
This is my WTF. He is the governor of Utah.
Okay.
He is
yeah.
being asked to change his last name because it is degrading, disrespectful, and a improper
Oh my
name
God.
for the governor to have. And
Is
so
it
they are-
COX or COCKS?
COX. It's
okay.
COX.
So it's not
Interesting.
COCKS.
But
Okay.
I mean, this has gone everywhere because they're calling his name
Yeah.
foul and dirty, and these
Well,
church-going ones are
yeah.
saying that it's not fit for public, and so they are petitioning
He's
him to
got
change his name.
men there in Utah who have like 12 wives. So I
Exactly.
can say probably
Right.
that's all they can keep their heads on.
I mean, I guess if his name was Harold and his name was Harry Cox, I could say like maybe go by Harold,
It's
not Harry.
Spencer. And I mean, and this is from the letter. Us decent people here in Utah will not stand for it. The honorable Republican Party will not stand for it. Most importantly, I will not stand for it.
Who's the
So,
honorable Republican
I
Party?
don't know.
There's no honor in the Republican
Exactly,
Party.
yeah.
So yeah, they're asking him to resign or to change his name, and they're going to stand in protest. And,
Are these the same people that were offended by Coca-Cola until
Who
they owned the
voted-
company?
but here's the problem: they voted him in. I mean, you knew his last name when you voted him in, so it was okay to.
It wasn't like he
Cox
took his
then.
mask off like a Scooby-Doo mystery, like, look, I'd have gotten away with it too, isn't for you meddling kids.
Either that or they planned it that way.
Exactly. They
Wait
have
till it
something
gets
to complain
in.
about.
Boom, there goes the name.
There's
Mhm.
something to complain about. Yeah, let's get him in here and then we
Jesus.
complain about it. I mean, and he's a Republican. He's a Republican
What?
governor too.
Oh
So
my God. So
Yeah.
they'll turn on their own even.
exactly.
Wow.
So yes, they said it sounded too much like COCK.
Oh,
So they
Sure.
it's improper. So
well.
I'm really at a we should get Cox in. He's running
I mean,
on our
let's-
side
wouldn't
here.
that be something?
In
remote
we could have
interview.
Cox and Cox.
You think
Dude.
anybody,
We
you
could
think
have
anybody in
Cox
California would
everywhere.
care?
I think our next presidential campaign, we should make sure we have people with both names are Cox.
There
Oh,
we go.
that'd be
Oh,
something.
then you have to vote for Cox or Cox.
And just we're gonna send in a whole bag of Cox.
A whole bag of Cox.
Are you going to roll into your Tell Me Something Good next?
Sorry. All right. It has nothing to do with it. Okay,
There's a
Allyson
transition
Felix.
for you.
Here we go. Allyson Felix.
Okay.
You guys know of her?
No.
Okay, she is a runner. She's one of our U.S. Olympic runners,
Okay.
and she is actually our most decorated Olympic runner.
Nice.
And a few years ago, back in 2018, 2017, she had to go on maternity leave, and Nike would not pay her. They wanted to pay her 70% less
Oh wow.
Okay.
than
Less.
what she was
My
doing
God.
because she was going to have a child or just had a child, and so she of course was not at top form.
Mhm.
So they wanted to pay her less, and she said, "Yeah, no, not going to happen." So she left them, and
Good for her.
so she went and opened up her own shoe company and ran this time in this Olympics in her own shoe company. I'm not going to pronounce it because I don't know how, but it's SASHYA, Shasha.
Okay.
Shaw. I'm not sure how it is. And she has now won her 11th gold medal.
Wow.
Nice.
I saw her last
Olympic
night.
medal.
Yeah, it
Heck
was
yeah.
the women's 4x100 meter,
Yep.
4x400 meter.
She is
relay.
in that one. But
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
they
she whipped
literally
them.
dumped her because she
Isn't
was,
that
well, not
crazy?
dumped her, but they wanted to pay her less. But now they've gone and when she's left and a few other women have left, they've
Mhm.
now gone and changed their tune and they've actually fixed their maternity leave policy that
So
they
that's
have for
actually
things.
fair?
Yes. So it's a
Yeah.
little more, I wouldn't say it's actually fair, but it's a little more fair
Yeah.
for them. But it was just like, what are you talking about? She's your most decorated person. And you obviously know she's going to get back in
Yeah.
shapes and she's
And
one
you
of your
know,
top shoe peeps.
you know they could have gone back and given her the money that she actually
Exactly.
lost and get a good name with her. but
Yes. But no, so
they're not that
she
smart,
left them
yeah.
and now a lot of
And
women
good on
seem to
her.
be
She's
bailing
got
on
her own,
Nike.
and she's good on her. She has her own shoes. Maybe
Exactly.
maybe this woman will run with her.
for
11th
her.
medal.
Yeah.
I mean, I
in,
can't.
in the games last night on TV, they showed her with her child too.
Oh, good.
It was
Nice.
really,
She-
it was moving. It's
I-
like right on. Mom was being more important.
I was
with
gonna
the
say, I think
baby.
she's actually helping bring in childcare or paid for some of the childcare
Yeah.
for some of the other women too, so that
Oh,
they
wow.
could bring them and keep things going. So
That's
kudos to Allyson because somebody has to stand up.
Absolutely.
Well, I would
BTV.
tell me something good. It's not really anything as quite as good as that, but it's something that was kind of heartwarming that I saw on the interwebs this last week. Interweb nets, that one.
So both hash browns.
So the hash browns.
hash browns and
So
webs.
everyone knows about the Ring doorbells. You know, someone
Yeah.
comes up within your house and you're
Oh,
within
it wasn't
reason.
Dave for once.
I know.
It
It's usually
wasn't
Dave.
for once.
Aha. But you know, if someone approaches the house, if there's a sensor, they'll tell you, hey, there's a person in your property or whatever. Well, every day during the day, he'd get an alert at work
Yeah.
that, like, oh my God, there's something happening in your driveway. And he looked, and it was this woman walking by with her like 5-year-old son on his little bicycle. He'd go up and do all kinds of circles around his driveway and just keep going. So he decided, well, how are we gonna handle this? You know, this kid's right. So he goes out there with chalk and he draws a little racetracks for him.
Oh wow.
And then when it washes away, he'll make it a little bit more difficult. And the kids started doing all this. I'm just like, man, that's just nice. It's
yeah,
like,
that
you.
is.
we
Yeah.
need
is.
more
So
nice people.
How many
like
people?
that in
How
the
many
world.
guys are in there? Get off my lawn!
Okay.
Right. I mean, I hate
God,
it made me feel
whippersnappers.
kind of shitty because my whole thing is like, at least how our
Get off my
driveway done.
semen.
And the kids in the neighborhood asked Heather the other day, like, can we come over and write and chalk all over your driveway? And I'm like, no. And I'm
But-
like, oh, I'm an asshole.
But Dave can drip scotch in your gutter.
You should be buying them
Yes.
the sidewalk chalk. And
I really
20
should
colors.
be. I should be. I'm a jerk, but that guy's not a jerk. So
He's
props
not
to
a
him.
jerk. There we-
Yeah,
jerks and not jerks.
I am a jerk. This gentleman is not a
a
jerk.
Okay, very good.
What you got, Dave?
I've got something. I had a passenger recently. Now, you guys all know I talk about oftentimes how busy I am because, you know, all the work that
You
I'm
are
doing.
Are you going
super
to the
busy. You're
airport?
beyond busy.
Here's the thing.
I know. Have you been to the airport lately?
I talked to this lady the other day. She's in her 30s. Like, I think she's 35. She was telling me all the things that she's doing. Believe me, next to me or next to her, I sit around and do nothing all day. This lady's got multiple companies that she started and
Oh,
running,
wow.
and they're up and they're going. Her name is, and I really hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. I don't know her
Yeah,
last name.
come
Of course, we'll only
on.
get first names, but Shalia. And I
Okay.
did give her a card. And after the ride was over and she was going back to her place, I stopped for a minute. I did beep the horn and I asked her to come back. And I said, told her about the podcast, gave her a card. I said, we would love to have you as a guest.
Oh yeah.
wow.
Because
Nice.
I think
That'd
it would
be
be
cool.
very inspirational. She is African American, and she is in with a lot of groups where it's supporting people rather
Yeah.
than trying to tear them down and
Nice.
bringing
That
each
is
other
good.
up and doing all these things. And I'll tell you, I was with her for maybe 15 minutes because, you know, we did a couple of stops and then we went back to her apartment to drop her off, and she was just electric. She was
Nice.
so on point.
Oh,
And the
great.
things that she's told me, she's like, if I don't understand something, then I take a class. And the class can go all day. But at the end of it, I now know that much more. And
Yeah.
she's like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Wow.
compete with these bigger companies, and I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to. I'm like, I think
Oh,
you
she
are
will
going
do
to
just
be
fine.
able
She's
to.
gonna
With
make
that
it, yeah.
attitude,
Because,
yes, she
because
will.
of the way that, you know, you break things down and you research
Mm-hmm.
things, I promise you, there are people within these big companies that don't bother doing that
Yeah.
because they rely on their name.
And I guarantee you, all her energy and good feelings come from doing that sort of work.
Positive
Absolutely.
begets
So
positive.
It's like you
Shalia,
do
if,
something
positivity
good for the
breeds
environment,
positivity.
you start feeling really good, you know.
yep,
So.
Shalia, if you are listening,
Hey.
Please come down and see
please
us.
come on and hang out with us. We would
Definitely.
love to, like I said, we would love to have you tell your story because I think it would be really good for
Yeah,
people to
definitely
hear
come
it.
on down.
So there you go.
Or anyone else
Anything
watching
good-
that has a
anything
story to
going
tell.
on good for you, sir.
Yeah, first I want to introduce myself.
All right.
I'm Mike Pickering. I'm
Hi,
a
Mike.
30-year elementary school teacher who just retired at the end of 2019, just
Nice.
before the craziness.
Thank you for your
Uh,
service, by the way.
yeah.
I know
sure,
exactly. It is
sure.
almost like that.
Yeah, it is.
I'm a consultant to the National Writing Project. I let's see, I have a bachelor's degree in guitar performance, oddly enough.
Guess who
Kinda
he's
weird
gonna,
when I
guess who
was
he's gonna
young.
teach guitar to?
It was weird when I was young, but now it's the coolest thing to have, you know.
That's right.
And let's see here. I have an album I produced about 8 years ago. I'm a dad.
Nice.
I'm a husband. That's about it. But I think above all else, I identify with educators. And I was trained with through the Kennedy Center in theater arts and dance and music. And if you ever seen a bunch of teachers in the summer be trained in dance,
Mhm.
if you haven't, you miss it. It's really a hilarious thing, but it's really valuable as well.
We actually have
Dancing
quite a
teachers.
dancer in this room.
Don't look at me.
That's right.
Come up. Maybe we should get a little
Talk
example.
about that TikTok
No, okay.
video.
Oh, Mr. What was he doing?
The swim, baby.
The
Oh,
swim.
the
I can do
Yeah.
more than the swim. I got
What about
Roger
that?
That's
Rabbit.
why
I
I
got.
said
I
we've got a
mean,
dancer
I got the
right
running
here.
man going.
I mean,
on.
I've danced on a pole once. Does that count?
I would like. You know what? Honestly, those
Did you pick up your
women,
change afterwards?
That is some serious dancing.
No, actually, we.
I have watched that
on-
stuff.
I'm also a musician, and we were on
Okay.
tour one time, and I had to go save one of my tour mates from. He followed some random woman from the
Some
bar to her
person.
house. So we had to go find him over there. So we
And the
knock
way
on
that
this-
goes wrong.
Right. Well, this
I
was about to
know,
go
right?
real. I knock on the door. We're out there in Arizona somewhere, and the first you see when the door opens is a stripper pole right by the front door.
Oh,
my
and you had to
gosh.
try it.
Was he on it?
He was not on it, neither was she, but he wasn't leaving, so I had to make things really awkward. So I climbed the stripper pole so we'd get kicked
Was it
out.
one
of
that
her
Oh,
house.
I
actually
got
spun,
you.
or was
There
it
you
set
go.
in stable?
It was stable. It was drilled into the
Okay.
ceiling in a
Oh,
part.
yeah.
I'm sure
But
the
do you know
apart-
the actual pole spins to make it easier for them when they're dancing?
This
Not
one
the
didn't
ones
s-
like at the
this
the
one didn't
clubs.
spin because it sure didn't make anything easier for me.
Oh, man.
But that was weird too. She had all these mannequins on the outside of the room dressed in lingerie.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so they
It
can
was-
just
that
choose
is
what
weird.
which one
It
you
was
want.
really
Choose-
freaky.
Is
And-
it like
yeah.
and I'm
choose your
just, like,
meal
looking at
plan?
I'm looking at my homie. I'm like, we need to leave. And the rest
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
guys, the rest of the guys, his band are like, yeah, come on, dude, we gotta go. And he's like, wow, this is great. She's
Yeah.
got drink and weed. I'm like, she has a
Yeah.
stripper pole and scary, freaky.
You're like, so do we. Now let's go.
mannequins.
We've
Anyway,
got
I
the-
didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, it's okay.
With stripper
it's okay.
poles, you know. Hey.
I think I about got to the end, but you know, Oprah years ago when she was doing her show, she had a whole segment on stripper poles for exercise at home.
Oh, dude, that takes an incredible
That
amount
is
of
some serious
strength.
strength.
Oh, yeah.
Core strength.
Props,
Yeah.
props to women who dance and or anyone who dances on a pole for that matter. That takes a lot of strength.
Oh,
to do
God,
that.
yeah.
Some I sure as heck because I fell off that thing. I
Core
was
and
probably-
flexibility.
Yeah.
I'm sure I would get concussion number 6.
Donk.
So,
I don't want to tell you, I've got my concussions. They're horrible.
mhm.
I've ran into a 2x4
Really?
with my head as I was running somewhere. I wasn't
Was
paying
it a
attention.
stable 2x4? Or
Yes,
somebody- oh,
that's
okay,
what makes it
nice.
even worse. Is it was
Yeah.
sitting there and I was just running. I
Ow.
played tons and tons of ball when I was little. So
Oh,
little
okay.
league. So every year for little league you get a pen,
Right, right.
and I put those in my hat. Plus,
Oh.
every year for All Stars you get a pen. So I put
Uh-huh.
those in my hat also.
Yeah.
And so I was running around and I was what 12, 13 years old. So and I've been playing since I was 6. So I had at least 7, and I've made All Stars a good 4 or 5 times.
Oh, yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
sitting there with like 12 pins. My grandfather opened up the door and said, "Let's go." I went running for the store and bam,
geez.
smacked my whole head,
Oh, you
embedded the
probably-
pins into my
Oh
head.
my
Nice.
god.
We ended up at
Now,
the
what year?
ER.
What year was this?
I was 12, 13. So 84, 85.
So no chance of video.
Oh,
No.
man.
So yeah, so I ended up in the ER and they're just like, "How did you do this?" It's like, I wasn't watching.
Wow.
And so I just
Wow.
ran my head into a 2x4.
Go figure.
Like it appeared out of nowhere. I swear.
I've got something else I should probably add.
Go for it.
Let's add it on.
Please
First of all,
do.
I'm 61, so I've got a lot of things happen. When I was about 19, a friend of mine and myself, we hitchhiked to New York from LA.
Oh,
Okay.
Nice.
Ended up working in the 1980 Winter Olympics at Lake Placid.
Ooh.
Right on.
Wow.
Thanks, yeah.
And I got fired for sneaking into the
Aw.
game where we beat the Russians.
Oh, in the big pit.
okay.
It was, yeah,
Miracle.
that was
That's
a
pretty
major
awesome.
event. Yeah, that was
Fabulous.
something.
But
Yeah.
did you get to see it at least, or did you
Yeah,
get
I
kicked out
did see it.
before?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so you got to watch.
When there was a boss, we had 3 bosses. You know, Kenny, David, and Brian. And so
I
Brian,
was
who
not
was-
David.
And not
Brian,
this day.
Brian, who was polite, nice, when we were all college kids, we were gophers.
Yeah.
They did whatever the hell they said. He comes to us, he goes, "Mike, go ahead and finish the game, but then you got to show up at the office." So I watch the game and I get to the office and all the guys are sitting around. And Dave, who was like the king of the Gophers, was sitting back there.
King of
You're
the
the
Gophers.
Gophers?
You have a little crown.
Yes.
Oh.
But he didn't hit his head on a
On a
2x4,
2x4.
thank God. But so he was there, and all the guys, you know, we knew each other real well. We'd worked together for like 4 months with maybe a day off a month, you know. And he says, so you lost your job, but hey,
Aw.
you're out here
But you
from
got to see the
California.
game.
You got to see the game. What else do you want?
Aw.
He said, go ahead, get out of here. But it was, you know, he
At
had
least
an
they let you
affection
fit-
for
I
it.
like
Yeah,
to
at least
watch
let
the
you
game. Yeah.
finish watching the game.
Oh
I mean,
yeah. It was really just one of those things, you know.
One
It's
of those
like,
moments,
wow,
yeah.
And that job wasn't going to be forever anyway.
No.
So
No.
I imagine you only had a week left anyway. So it's
At
like,
the most,
yeah.
at the most, yeah. So
That's
Oh,
how I
that's
go into
crazy.
most jobs, knowing that it's not
Only a
gonna be
couple weeks
forever.
Yeah, that's a good way to like go
You know,
into
I
it.
Yeah.
once had a job for 8 hours.
Really?
Wow,
Okay,
they
what were
fired
we
you
doing?
that fast, bro.
I was going to work at Safeway, and they
Oh.
wanted me to work in the deli, and it was going to pay $11 an hour.
Hey.
And I had to watch these videos and all the things they expected you to. And I mean, there was a lot of complicated stuff here as far as like cutting things and cooking and prepping and upselling and all this. And I'm like halfway through it. I'm like,
You're like, I'm
you're going to pay
good.
me $11 an hour.
Oh my God.
And I got to know all this.
Well,
Yeah.
you don't have
Forget
to know it. You just had to watch it and say you
According
did
to
it.
them,
I mean,
I'm just
yeah.
saying
Okay.
that-
And when you walk into Safeway, how many of them upsell you and do everything when you go to the deli?
I don't really
Because
go
none
there
of
all
mine
that
ever
often.
do. So
So I
Right.
tell you, the next thing I remember doing
like,
was, you know, I had my apron and I had my little hat and I folded it all up.
and he said, I'm out.
I
Oh.
walked in. I said,
Oh, wow.
I apologize. I know I'm supposed to start tomorrow, but this is just not
It's
going
not
to
gonna happen.
happen.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So,
You know, this is not
and I
happening
called my
with me.
roommate and he's like, you quit, didn't you? he's like,
So who's
"How-"
paying your rent this month?
He's like, how long did you make it?
So Bill, still no potato salad still. Can't
No.
get it from him to be
'Cause
working there. We
he
can't
won't
get him to
even-
get it
he
from
won't
his
even know how to
wife.
make a
wouldn't
potato
have,
salad.
You wouldn't have wanted it.
You know
from
what?
there.
Once I'm done with my food thing, I will bring in potato salad. We can do this.
I
got
will
you some.
take care
Now,
of
can you
this.
take some of the pre-made meals and like make things out of the pre-made meals?
No.
Oh, so there's not
Oh,
even it's not even broken
like
down
mix
enough
them
that you
up.
could mix
Nothing.
it.
No, it's in a bag, and I literally have to take the bag, empty it onto a plate. I can add salt and pepper, and I warm it up. There you go.
You are
That is
painted into a
it.
corner.
Yeah, and that is it. You can't add because I'm
Now-
like, can I please put garlic salt? And
Oh,
they're like,
yeah.
nope.
Nope.
How about your health? You feel better? Or
No.
How many days have you been doing it?
No.
I have 2 weeks left.
Oh,
And so I'm at 30. I don't know where I'm
Out of
at anymore.
42,
Out of
right?
Have they
42,
already
yeah.
paid you?
wow.
No, we get paid at the
Oh,
end
see,
because we
that
also get paid for
sucks.
travel and stuff too.
Oh,
So
wow. Above the $1,000?
it's $980 something, and then we get paid for our travel. So I
Wow.
drove to Vacaville because I have to do it twice. So they're going to
Yeah.
pay me for all my mileage to Vacaville, plus they're paying me for my mileage to UC Davis.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
So it'll come out to a little bit over 1,000, about 1,100 by the time I finish
Very
with all of
nice.
this.
Bad.
Very nice.
All right.
But
well,
yeah, no, I can't make
have
anything out of it.
a WTF.
Oh,
And then we'll get into our normal topics here.
is it Cox and Cox?
It is not.
Cox and Volvo?
I had dropped somebody off at the airport this morning and I'm on my way out and I get hit
They
up
made
for
it
another
wrong.
ride. And it now tells you, because I've been doing this for such a long time, I can, I'm over the 13,000 ride hump or whatever. So it tells me how far away the next ride is and how long of a ride it is.
Okay.
It was 22 minutes away, 7-minute ride.
Oh,
So
wow.
half hour. There you go. I'm rounding up, you know.
That's not the point. You want me to drive for 22
So,
minutes
yeah.
to pick somebody up and drive them 7 minutes. Now, I told you before about the calculation on
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah.
Distance, 41 cents per mile. Time, 16.16 in case I stutter per minute. So I'm doing the math in my head. 7 minutes, $1,
Yeah,
16
70 plus
cents. That's
42,
that's
$1.12.
$1.12.
Yeah, 1.12.
God.
41 cents a mile. That's 280. Well, okay, $4. You want me to drive 22
For a half hour.
minutes
Isn't
For
that
$4.
to get $4? I'm not doing it. So I declined the ride because you can do that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, see, people are going to get hip to this, that if they start to do the math,
Yeah, but
you're
it takes
actually
doing the math.
losing money.
Math is hard.
Exactly. Well, I think a lot of people probably haven't ever really gone in and looked, because you can look anytime at your rides and you can see, okay, you went this far times per mile. It took you this long times per minute. And then they add the two numbers together and that's what you get paid.
Well, they always tell you,
It's
like,
simple.
they always tell you, like, when you're thinking about going out and buying something or going on a trip or going on a vacation, or if you want to buy that splurge item, you need to put that into time
Yeah.
and put it into
Mhm.
your hours that you're making.
Exactly.
So how many hours am I going to have to sit behind this desk to go buy that brand new car? How many hours am I
Uh-huh.
going to have to sit behind this desk to go buy that new DVD that I want? You know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
not
Or
that
in my
anybody
case,
does DVDs
how
anymore,
many
but
times, how many
He does
hours do I have to
VHS
sit
still.
Pong.
in this car
Beta.
to buy this desk?
Oh, yeah.
Because
Exactly.
I need a desk now too.
See,
So there
so
it is.
yeah,
Yeah, you
it's-
do need a desk. Dude.
and
I do.
most people
Yes.
won't sit down and
But
do that
it's working
calculation.
so far.
It
not
also
broken?
kind of
Good.
thins out your what you start buying.
Yeah.
You start getting it.
When you start putting it in that perspective, you're like, how much of my life and my time am I spending to do this?
A warm place. Yeah. It gets very simple.
Comfortable clothes, man. I'm going to Goodwill
So
and buying it for the
there's-
dollar. Here we
Yep.
go.
So there's my WTF, because I'm like I said, people are going to get hip to this and they're going to start to figure out, okay, I'm not going to take these rides where I'm actually losing money to do it.
Is it
Sorry.
because there's not drivers out 22 minutes away in that area?
I know
Do
they
they try to like set? I've never driven for rideshare, but do they
Yeah.
try to set it up with the closest driver to the area to make it make sense for them?
That is the prevailing theory.
That's our
Theory,
hopes.
but-
That's our
but
hopes
we
and
don't know
dreams.
that to be
It's
true,
hard
though.
to believe, though, that somebody isn't closer than 22 minutes away.
Yeah.
And plus, I'm at the airport. I can hang out there for probably another 10 minutes. I'm
And
going
get
to
another
get
ride,
me
yeah.
another ride. And
All
it's
the way
not,
back to Sac.
It's not going to be 22 minutes to get to somebody to take them 7 miles away.
No.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. So
That's
there
crazy.
it
But
is.
like I said, doing the math, most people aren't going to do the math
Yeah.
because it takes too much time and effort. And it's
Well,
like, oh, I
then-
get $4. Let's go. You know,
Yeah.
Let
Right.
them go
I
ahead
need
and
the
do
$4
this.
to pay my rent. So this is what I'm going to do. You don't
I'm
put it into
sorry to hear
calculation.
that.
But you're
So-
spending more money to get out there.
Exactly,
than
but
you're
they don't
making.
realize that, and they
Right.
don't see that. So I need that $4 for the rent. Here we go. Well, you just
I
spent
drove
10.
a yellow cab when
Okay.
I
Yellow
was
cab.
19
All right.
down around Sacramento. It was the best
Nice.
thing I could have ever done. First of all you're doing is you're moving your gas foot, hitting the brake now and then,
He's a
driving.
gas pedal.
And so I worked Friday, Saturday nights always, which kept me
I
out of
make
a
a
lot
ton
of
of money.
trouble. Yeah, go
He's
from
not getting out
6
of trouble.
to 2, and at 2 they always say, "Hey, can you keep going?" I was like, "Why not?"
Sure.
Why not? The
And,
money's really about
But yeah,
to
it
start flowing.
gives you some stories. I tell you,
Take the
It's-
drunks home. Let's go.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So was that the early 80s bar 30 and like 81, 82? Or is my math off?
Let's see here. I think it was about 78, 79.
78, 79?
Yeah.
Man, that sounds like the disco era.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Was Bobby
And
McGee's
Faces,
open then?
remember Faces was just starting.
Oh,
and
I've been there.
Wow. Yeah.
I remember for my test, it cracked me up. It was over on B Street, the yellow cab office.
Mhm.
Little tiny white building. I get in there, and the guy says, "Okay, where's the airport?" I point over my shoulder. He says, "Where's Arden Fair?" I point over the other shoulder. "Where's El
Like,
Grove?"
you're hired.
He says, "Come on with me. We'll get you started." He takes me out to the cab, opens the trunk, and showed me these 2 little knobs. He says, "When you get locked in here,
Oh.
you wait till they drive
Ooh,
away.
when?
Oh,
and
wow.
turn
When,
these
not if,
knobs
but
so
when.
you can get out." I never got locked in there, but I had some rides who left. I got to say this one. It was a kid I picked up in West Sac.
Okay.
It was probably 11 at night, and they always say you got to get all the money advanced.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't have any money. I was 19. So you have that kind of like simpatico. He was about my age. I said, "Okay."
You're like, come on, buddy.
He said, "I promise I can get it to you when we get to my house."
sure.
Sure.
So we get over there, and he lives again somewhere around B Street over there. I forget the exact street. Didn't have a lot of money. And so I'm pulling into the driveway. He says, "Just a second, I'll go get it. My dad has it." I said, "Okay." So I'm waiting there. It's in the dark. I don't remember much of a porch light.
2 hours
And all
later.
of a
I know,
sudden-
right?
All of a sudden, behind me, I see a cop car rolls. No lights, no engine,
Oh,
nothing. Just
no.
like
Hell.
creeping by on the gravel, right? I'm like, "Oh, Jesus." Then a cop sneaks around to my side. I got my window up. He says, "Hey, don't worry. This kid's been out stealing TVs and stuff all day long." His dad
I like
called
it.
us and told us he's home. So I wait, and the people, they surrounded. You know how cops are.
Yeah.
One little 19-year-old with no weapon, and there's like 5 of them.
Yeah.
Duck.
Beaming down on him with their guns. And so he gets taken away, and I said, "Hey, somebody's got to pay."
How many
Yeah.
TVs did
This
you
way.
get?
It's like a $20 ride, So
Did you get a
but
TV for it at least?
no, I didn't get anything. I think the dad gave me like $15.
Okay,
But
well, that's a
again, they
start.
didn't have any
Close.
money.
I was gonna say,
so-
dude, with the 4 of us, we can go down there now. Let's
So
do
you
it. If
could-
you remember where
yeah.
it's at, let's go.
Let's
go.
go,
He
let's
could have
go
sold
for
one
it.
of the TVs. Probably got at least $20. So
20
that's
And who
bucks.
knows where the TVs were? He may have sold them by then.
That's
They were
true.
not in your trunk.
No, he was. He was.
He was using him.
TVs turned the knobs and escaped. They knew they were
Well,
stolen.
Yeah.
I
They were
guess,
using
yeah.
him. He was using him to get the stolen
Oh.
goods to the house. He's like, yeah, hold
Yeah.
on, taxi, stay there. Just stay there for 1 minute.
Hey, that guy looks young.
Exactly.
Give him to
Well,
me.
speaking
foolish enough we
of
could do this.
Sketchy and dishonest behavior.
Oh,
All
Here
right.
where are we
go.
starting?
We're starting with the phony COVID vaccine cards
yeah.
that are
Oh.
now for sale, evidently, pretty much anywhere.
They've been that
I
way
thought
since
it was
the
just on
beginning. No, no,
campuses,
no,
but
no.
according to you guys,
Yeah.
you
Well,
can get
you
these things like
know-
everywhere. You get them in like a vending machine.
Well,
Kind of.
you know, this is actually a federal offense
It
because they're
is.
putting
Yes.
the CDC's logo. It's
Yes.
misappropriation of a government federal
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
logo.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a $5,000 fine.
I was
5
gonna say, I
years in
thought it was.
prison.
That's what I thought it was, but I wasn't positive when I looked it up. Yeah.
I know of people, I'm just going to leave it that way, that I'm loosely related to that have done this, and it makes me
Oh, yeah.
angry. And I'd like to just turn them in, but I'm not going to.
But like
I
I
bet
s-
it's been going on longer than we think.
It's been going on
Who
since they
knows?
started it.
Oh,
I will
yeah.
tell you
No,
100%.
no,
Like, when I got
won.
my card, I looked at that. I was like, "Oh, this isn't going to end."
You can put it on a
Oh, yeah.
scanner and make
Yeah.
that thing.
I was thinking I can go home and make these, and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Of course, I'm not
a
going
little
to."
bit
But
of
Yeah.
card stock. And,
they need to
yeah.
do something. They need to do something a little more permanent now.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like, what are you going to do? Like I said, I don't want you putting my stuff in the database because I've seen how many times that stuff's been hacked. So now you've got my
Right.
medical record number, you've
Right,
got all
right.
this other stuff about me that we have to put in there, and addresses, phone numbers, whatever they seem to want to catch in there at that moment. So
It seems like eventually everything's going to be a thumbprint, fingerprint.
Right.
Something-
a chip.
No
Oh, wait.
more, no more credit
No.
cards.
It's
You
a
just
chip.
put your.
No, it's not going to be a chip.
Ah, it's the chip.
We don't have-
You know, those vaccines and the
That's where it
RFIDs.
started.
You know,
But
so-
only if the chip makes you magnetic.
Oh.
Well,
like the ones in Ohio, apparently.
stay away from my drawer now because I have silverware.
I know.
I don't want it. I don't want it all to be gone when you come over
When
and then
he
you
walks
leave.
out, he's
You know,
Maggie,
like,
you stole my scissors again.
Where's all my knives and forks? They're like, well, did Bill leave? Yeah, I
Yes.
think so.
He looks
Oh,
like he's
man.
wearing like plate armor in the front. Yeah, well, there you go.
So
You'll be
there
calling
it
him up, hey,
was.
Bill, can I have my stuff back, please?
Or
It's-
trying
it's
to
in-
get through the airport.
It's in the
checks.
taxi trunk.
Exactly.
They put stuff down, and all it just comes back to you.
Exactly. Like, wait a minute. What's all that stuff that guy's got?
They're sticking to you.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I mean, so they're all over the place, and I mean, they've been doing this since day one. I mean, it's just, I mean, opportunists and entrepreneurs will always find a way to make a
saying,
buck.
I don't really
so.
consider them entrepreneurs.
Hey,
they're
they're out there.
criminals.
Okay,
Yeah.
criminals, but just how many
Yeah.
things started as
But you
criminal
could-
activity?
Yeah, and you could put into that boat teenagers
Yeah.
and young college people. And
Yeah.
no matter, it's a challenge.
Yep.
How
And-
can we replicate this and get away with it?
And what are you going to do? I mean, it's the $5,000, the $500 fine. I mean, the 5 years, the $5,000 fine. But it's if you're only putting out a couple cards. I mean, unless they're mass producing, it's not going to be worth the money to go after them.
Right. Or
I
even be
bet
able
they
to
are.
find them.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Well,
if I
you
was a
can
high
find one.
school, if I was a high school kid, I wouldn't put it past myself to do something like that to make
Oh,
some
yeah.
money.
Yeah.
I'm just being
Yeah.
real. I mean, that's kind of how I thought when I was that age. I was
$5 a
always
pop,
like
here we go. I can-
opportunist, you know.
I can do 100 of these, $5 a pop. Here you go. Whoop, done.
Yeah.
I've got $500 in my pocket, and I didn't do anything other than run a copy machine and a.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think there are
pen.
people out there that are selling term papers and
Oh, yeah.
they're selling all
Everything.
these other things. So I guess this was just the inevitable.
We
mean,
can
there
turn
was
our
always
cards into
bootleg music.
turnitin.com.
Hey,
Yeah.
there's always bootleggers selling music. It's the same
Music
principle, you
videos.
know. Mhm.
Yeah.
So how are you going to, I mean, and how are you going to fight this or combat this? I mean, now that everybody's requiring the vaccine cards to go into the bars and that, you're
But
still not.
Yeah, I think though a lot of the anti-vaccine people on the virus, they probably still wouldn't even buy it. They like that defiance,
Yeah.
saying no, giving you a hard time, taking away your business.
Well, I
spitting
would say
on
the
you.
ones that
Yeah,
are like in
yeah.
danger of losing their jobs right now because you have some
Yeah.
of the healthcare,
Or
you
if
have
they
the
want
fire
to, if they're
winds,
retired and they want to go do things that
Yeah.
they can't do,
and they
then-
can't because they don't want it,
Yeah,
then you're going to
yeah.
sit there and you're going to go, fine, I'll
Yeah.
go pay the $20 and get my card, my fake card, and you guys are going to let me go wherever I want to go, and I'm going to do whatever I want to do. So
Yeah.
if
It kind of irritates.
you're going to
me.
be around them, so definitely just keep wearing your mask, do
Oh,
what
yeah.
you need to
Yeah.
do to protect yourself, wash your hands, keep yourself clear of everybody. I like
I've
the
seen-
6 foot distancing.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people that, businesses that say if you've been vaccinated, you can wear your mask. But now I have a friend over at Pioneer House, the senior citizens home. They told me 2 days ago, when you come in, you got to wear your mask, but now you have to show your vaccination
card.
form, which,
Okay.
things are getting a little more snug around us, which I don't think is a bad thing. The weird thing is too, right up front, I heard somebody say, one of Fauci's colleagues, that it's not social distancing, it's physical distancing, because social distancing hit our immune systems too. More people are getting sick, they're getting depressed. Where had it been just physical distancing, we could have sat 6 feet away from
Yeah.
the beginning. And
Oh, we did.
That's
I
kinda
did it with
what
my
I had-
parents. Yeah, I
yeah,
sat
I-
out in the garage, the park on the driveway, way far away. They sat up at the porch.
Yeah,
and,
I had my
"Hey."
bubble of people I'd see, but it was in the backyard,
Yeah.
or the front
And you spread
driveway.
out,
Our
and here we go.
neighbors, I'd see them doing stuff all the time across the street. They'd be like, they'd sit at the top of the,
Yeah.
right? They roll beers down the driveway. I'm like, that's perfect. Because that's,
Yeah.
This is
that's
how
a
we
safe.
do it.
That's safe, but you're still doing the interactions. As
yeah,
human
you
beings
need
we
those
to have.
interactions.
They
yeah.
need
That's
a
what I
little
was-
Tonka truck and just push it down in the Tonka truck.
Get a little electric train and just run the beer or,
No,
or
you get that kid from the driveway and you strap a little basket on his back
and run them between the streets.
down the street. Yeah.
That was my plan, to roll that Scotch bottle to you, but
Oh,
you were gonna
roll it
it's
and try to be
just- it
distant.
slipped out of my
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah.
I was trying to keep it safe.
Well, good job on that one.
I mean, it's always, other people first.
Did you recycle the glass at least?
Yeah, it did
Uh,
actually.
Okay,
It
thank
did
goodness.
actually
Yeah.
end in the recycle. My
I
recycle
remember I
can.
got the
So you
broom
didn't
with
kill
the
any
dustpan.
sea turtles with this. You just killed the
We
whatever
just
was in the
got
sewer.
Whatever's in the sewer.
It's kind
Yeah.
of killed the mood of the party too. So-
No, it was fine.
No, that was a great party. There's plenty of other scotch too.
There's
There was
plenty of
plenty of
liquor.
scotch.
Yes.
There's plenty of other
I keep
liquor.
a lot of
and a
scotch
few
in
other
the
things,
house.
as I recall.
Quite a
Few
few
other
things.
things.
Quite a few things.
There were other intoxicants.
Yes.
Exactly, and some great food.
Yeah, you know what?
I
My
heard.
man hooks up some good. My other buddy had a party recently and he catered it, and it was equally as good food.
So now you know it's
Consistently
consistent.
good. And it's called Consistently Good. It's his
Oh
business.
wow, seriously.
Derek
Okay, there
at
you go.
Consistently Good. Look him up. He will
Consistently
take
Good.
care of you with food. Shameless,
really good.
shameless plug for my
Super
friend.
shameless
Yeah.
plug there. Here we go.
Exactly. Well, if you're going to be shameless, you might as well be
Shameless.
super shameless.
Super shameless.
Hey,
Without a
everything
doubt.
should be super.
He's gonna start busting out with some Garth Brooks here in a minute. Shameless. There's a song for everything, man. There's a song for everything.
I mean, how many songs could there be?
A gajillion.
There probably are cajillion
There
songs.
Yeah.
probably are.
Oh,
You
we're
go
just-
back
we're
to
just gonna
the
throw that
first
one there.
song, yeah, no doubt. Huh?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's
Exactly.
gajillions, man.
So what else have we got going on?
Okay, I have a question for you because you're an
Sure.
educator.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
do you feel about Oregon taking away the reading and the math requirements?
Oh, I didn't hear about that. What's the details?
I don't know all of them completely, but I know that Governor Brown has come in and she has taken away some of the reading requirements and some of the math requirements for the graduation of the high school students.
Oh, in light of COVID-19.
And,
Well, I tell you, something has to give. There is no way, especially the younger the kids are, the worse it is. There's no way they received a full year of instruction.
Yeah.
It's just not possible. I've talked to parents whose kids are on the Zoom meetings and all that. And so, I don't, with older kids, high school, I don't think there should be an excuse.
Oh, we're at
If
number two.
you're
Should I
really,
turn mine on?
I assume these are requirements, not just to graduate, maybe to get into college.
I was gonna say they are. Well,
Yeah.
yes and no, because actually here in California now, you don't have to. Because my children went to when they first started the community college, they had to take the assessment test to be able to figure out what math
Right,
you went into and what
right,
English
right.
you went into. Well, by the time my youngest son has now gotten in there, there's no longer the assessment test. You
Wow.
can just say what you have on your
Oh, yeah.
diploma, whatever you have
Yeah.
on your graduation. So if you did algebra 2, you can go into algebra 2
Yeah.
at
That
the
should be
community college.
fine. Yeah.
the only problem is how many of them actually, I mean, I couldn't tell you I passed algebra 2, but I sure as heck didn't know algebra 2.
Well, it should be on the kid's resume of, their grades. I forget what. you
Yeah,
call
that's what I'm
that,
saying. I passed it with
Yeah.
C, but I didn't mean I could do it. I had to, when I went back to college, I had to go back to algebra 1 because I really didn't know
Yeah.
algebra 2 well enough to pass it there.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I didn't have the thing. So, and my son, like he just did his and he got into statistics, and there were quite a few kids in there that were failing that class
I believe
miserably.
it.
And the
Yeah.
reason they got in there was because on their transcripts, it says, yeah, they can go in and take this class.
Yeah.
But the problem is are they really ready to take that? And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that we should have assessments because I can tell you
You
some of
gotta
those are
have 'em.
biased and that's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can tell you, you can't do nothing either because I'm going to sit there and go, yeah, I totally passed algebra 2.
You
yeah,
have
you
to have some
copied
way
off
to
of-
measure.
There
Yeah.
has to be a way to measure, but I don't know what the final answer is. And I don't think
Yeah.
taking away the requirements is the answer either.
No, but I tell you, my last years of teaching, I really began to flat out be way impressed with online learning.
Okay.
I mean, there are programs like Khan Academy, for example, and I would work through it myself as though I was a student. And when I saw how it personalized,
Oh, yeah.
whatever I was missing, boom, it helped me with that, and it moved me along. Because every kid, I had 30 kids in a class, say, right? I guarantee you, 2/3 of them are always behind. They came through that way. It's our instruction. I would tell the parents that, hey, at a promotion ceremony, if your kid's not making it, it's on us,
Yeah.
right? I had 30 years experience, graduate degree. Everybody on stage did. But that Khan Academy, so I started recommending it
I
to
love that
parents, even the higher achieving.
Yeah.
Because that's where you go by yourself with a tutor and you work on your stuff. Then we had group projects. We had some really brilliant things to do together where I wouldn't mind calculators, all that. Mathematicians use them all
Oh,
the
those
time.
videos are awesome because it
Yeah.
takes you step by step. Anything that you ever need to do. I mean, even if you don't do the tutoring part of it,
Yeah.
you can watch the videos. I
Oh, yeah.
homeschooled my youngest son. and we
It's
use
so
those.
impressive. And so high school kids, I wouldn't cut them any slack on that. So you got to do this on your own. And what I would do with my advanced kids, they would be working on this. I'd get to a chapter. I'd pull out the end of the chapter test. I'd say, anybody want to take this? Because if you could pass it, boom, you go to the computer and work
there
on
you
your own
go.
stuff. And so that's what I would say to supplement for the virus.
Yeah.
There is online learning, language, everything. Actually, Khan Academy alone has probably 30 different subjects at all levels, up to
Yeah.
college, I believe. So that's a necessity. But the younger they get, the more they're missing.
Yeah.
And so, I know people are getting ready to go back. It's like this. Administrators, let's say our superintendent and whoever he has to help make these decisions, I think it's like 65,000 children, right? And so he's doing the best. There's going to be some that get sick, and
Yeah.
it's like who can we leave behind? How many?
Yeah.
Right? What's the limit before we close school? But if you're a parent and it's your kid and they go to school and they get the virus and they become really sick, it's a major life event.
Yes.
Not for that superintendent.
No.
And, I think they're all well-meaning, good people making these decisions,
Yes.
but it's the structure. The structure alone always leaves a bottom behind.
Yes.
Always. Yeah. And if that becomes people who get the virus.
You
then-
mean Bush's
so-
No Child Left Behind is just not quite working?
No.
It's not
No.
working, but
Yeah.
it says No Child
But it
Left
was
Behind.
flawlessly put together.
Yeah.
It says in quotes, No Child
Oh, it
Left
was-
Behind.
I remember
But then he
those
took us
days.
into war, which leaves every child
Every
behind.
child
Yes.
behind.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
I had to write on that in my
Those
thesis.
days,
Yeah.
they had the most ridiculous goals.
Yeah.
We're looking at each other saying, "Oh Christ!"
But see,
okay.
you look at the goals. I mean, you look at them at from the outside world, though. You're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that's the greatest thing ever.
Oh,
No
yeah.
child left behind, and we're going to get them all reading. We're going to compete with
Yeah.
Japan and
It
all
doesn't
that.
happen.
The problem
No.
is our system, as you were saying, is not set up to do that. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, there's going to be children that are left behind because they don't have the two parents at home or somebody
Yeah.
able to do the homework with them. They don't have the after school programs. They don't
Right.
have the school programs. They don't even have enough food to eat half the
Yes,
times. And we're
yes.
still charging for school lunches and
Yeah.
sending a bill home for them. And they're going hungry all day.
There was a big movement about not movement, but awareness of who was getting the best scores in the world, right? It was Finland. And so, everybody should be studying. A lot of people did. And they would only test like every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
We prepare for tests now almost every day, unless you can figure out your way out of it. So in Finland, they have tests every 2-3 years. They don't study the test. They don't do nothing until about 2 weeks before the test. They teach their kids, okay, this is how it's going to be. Have a couple of
This is what we're
practice
doing.
tests. And what they do is first of all, they have no special ed teachers. They say in our classes, there's always some kid that needs some extra help.
Yeah.
Could be a high achiever, could be anybody. The other thing is they say our motto is, that's your kid. Are you going to leave your kid behind?
Right.
So they work, and one of the best things is when you have kids teach kids. So they were doing this. They had the highest average. They didn't have these peak performers where the rich got richer and richer till boom, the kids zooming off
So
the
no
chart.
peaks and valleys on that
Yeah.
scale.
So 75% was their average. And then they just go back. They didn't even want any attention for it. They said,
Yeah.
okay, now we're going back.
See, and
to
I
work.
think, don't they also, I don't know, I'm trying to remember if I've seen a thing on it. And don't their younger grades aren't even similar to ours. They don't
No.
even go to school. I mean, they go to school, but they don't go to structuredized school
Yeah,
until
they
like
go-
6th, 7th grade. I thought it was like what we consider our middle schoolers is when they actually start structured school.
Yeah, it's really more like activities. It's not
Playtime.
climbing.
You're going to learn way more during play
passing
than you
chapter
are.
1, chapter 2.
Yeah.
They get them into all these concepts that are just amazing.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
always felt like the Americans public school system was really set up more to get kids indoctrinated to go and work a 40-hour work week for an employer, but not push themselves forward to be the employer.
Well, and how it all
yeah,
started.
and that's no diss on the
No, no,
educators.
it's
Please
okay,
don't. I'm
don't
not trying
worry.
to diss.
How
you
our
at all.
public
no
school
problem.
started, and this was in my thesis, was they had to get the parents into work, and so they had to have somewhere to send the kids.
Yeah.
And so this is how they got their, I'm going to put it, and people always say glorified babysitting. This is how
Yeah.
they got their babysitting. They had to start going into
Mhm.
school in public school. The schools were paying for it. Therefore, the parents could go work into
Yeah,
the
yeah.
factories. And we were getting longer work hours out of the parents in the factories because we were able to send the kids over here and they didn't
Yes,
have to
yes.
leave somebody to watch them anymore.
Uh-huh.
And then, like you said, it's kind of an indoctrination. We just run our school way different here in the United States. And every time
Yeah.
we fall behind, our whole solution always is test more.
Yeah.
We need to test more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's crazy because
It's not working before. Why is it going to work
right.
now?
The test, what it does, instead of shows the teacher who knows exactly where the kid is, it shows people at the state just a bunch of numbers
Yeah.
about
Numbers.
no kids' photos or lives about it. But the real thing is, and I learned this so much through teaching the arts, and I always had the low achieving kids, inner city kids. Believe me, they're my people, the troublemakers. It's
Yeah.
like, right on, bring them to me.
Exactly.
Because the traditional methods don't work. So I get to go out of the box. And it really, because none of those methods have worked. I guarantee a first lesson in first grade, there are kids already falling behind kindergarten. And it's like, wait a second. So that little child, every report card, every parent conference, every time the whole
Little Johnny is not
class-
listening. He's
Yeah.
not passing his
Struggle.
test.
and
He's
so
not passing
you
his
think
ABCs.
about esteem and do they believe in themselves? They'll answer all the questions. Yes, I believe in myself. It ain't happening. It really needs to be that our goals are the growth and development of children.
Oh, definitely. Well, a
You
test
know,
are,
to the people we want them to be brilliantly loving, compassionate people. That's the goal, right? You don't want on your tombstone,
I can regurgitate information better than you.
postdoctorate,
That's my tombstone,
postdoctorate,
yeah.
on and on and on. You want, hey, this was a good,
Yeah.
compassionate, creative,
Mhm.
loving person.
Well,
And so we need to get
speaking
that as the
of-
goal.
Good, compassionate, loving people.
No.
Yeah, I
No
saw the picture
child
who
left
that
behind.
is.
Here's one who maybe should have been if he wasn't. It's our man, Mike Lindell, the
Oh.
My Pillow
Oh.
man.
Pillow
Who
talk.
evidently
Grab some
His,
pillow
his
talk
hand-picked
now.
cyber expert admits that the data used to justify the China hacking claims is illegitimate.
What
Go figure.
was it
Who
on?
could have
Was it on
ever
Facebook? Because if it's
guessed
on
that?
Facebook, it had to be true.
I read that he walked off a stage at one of his little whatever rally he was having with that news got announced and just didn't even face it. Just like kind of like
Exactly,
that
so.
Homer Simpson where he drifts off into the
into the bush.
The bushes. That's kind of what he did there.
Oh, yeah.
Drifted off into some
Slice back into
pillows.
that bush.
So from the it's hard to believe category, And I didn't think this guy's credibility could get any
Any worse?
lower.
There you go.
Evidently, it can.
Can you see him walking
Oh,
out going, a pillow for you and a pillow for you and a pillow
Take
for you?
your-
Everybody gets your
whatever.
pillows.
And I heard his pillows were really crappy too to
I
begin
know
with.
so.
That was just before all the other stuff. I see
I-
his commercials and them up there selling his pillows.
I
Like,
have
it's
trouble
like,
buying stuff from infomercials.
What can you guys catch me up on? What's this guy's pillow? What's the
Oh,
story?
he has
Well,
a
he's
company
got his
called
company
My
called
Pillow.
My Pillow.
He started it a
It's
number of years
American
ago.
made. They're what, Minneapolis, I believe.
Yeah,
right.
American made. He pushes that he's uber Christian and all this stuff on his
Greatest pillow
commercials.
ever. You'll
He's
get
got the Jesus
best night
fish
of
on the commercial
sleep,
and all that.
Yeah,
And he's a
Okay.
Trump supporter.
huge.
Okay.
Strong one.
So much
Huge.
that Trump had him coming out to the White House and helping to make ideas for the country and stuff. Because
Oh my God.
Did they put
nothing,
My Pillow
nothing
into
more
the
than
White
a
House?
guy
Make a
who
good
makes a
pillow.
freaking pillow.
Did he
They
put
can-
My Pillow into the White
I
House?
bet it's
Yeah.
I'm
Everywhere.
sure they're all
Yeah.
over. I hope
Biden
I bet
had to
it's
get him
not
out.
I hope
there.
Biden burned every one of
Biden
those.
had to get him out afterwards. Going, yeah,
He's like,
these are crappy
Jill, I
pillows.
need you to burn these. Yeah.
Take him out on the front yard.
Yeah,
on the
put
front
them on
lawn.
Lincoln bedroom.
In the
yeah.
Lincoln
There you
bedroom.
go.
Yeah.
There you
A
go.
couple of my pillows.
Just for you.
Yeah. And
So-
we had talked before about the Florida governor, because we were talking about
Florida
the
man.
one in
Florida
five
man.
cases and COVID, and how he was saying that what we talked about last week, where President Biden, he says it's he's not securing the border, and that's why the cases are going up, and all these other things, and none of it was quantified. Well, now he's taken it a step further, and he is threatening to withhold the pay of the superintendents of any
Oh.
school district that enforce the mask
And see,
mandate.
this baffles me.
Isn't that crazy?
I can
Which
understand
is a
not wanting.
federal mandate, right?
Yeah, I don't think the feds.
I was
can
gonna
do
say I don't
that.
think the feds,
I
do,
don't
but
think
I can understand not wanting to do the mask mandate. I can understand not having a state mask mandate. But when I want to wear a mask, I should be able to wear a mask without any repercussions coming back my way. But some of them are like being fired from their jobs for wearing a mask. It's like,
Oh,
why
wow.
am I being fired or let go because I decided to?
What about your
So
first
it's
protect
not,
my
it's not-
health.
it's not hurting anybody around you
No.
to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It is not infringing upon anybody for me to put a mask on. my
Isn't
face.
Texas getting like that?
I believe
I've
they
been hearing
are.
some
Yeah.
bad things
Well,
about
that's
They're
another one,
they're
'cause-
Trump state.
Yeah,
basically.
from last week we said it's what is it, 1 in 3 of cases now is but east of Florida and Texas.
Yes, at
So-
the moment, yes.
And
Wow.
when Biden had said if governors, and he didn't name any names, and didn't name any states, he just said if they're not going to do the right thing, then they can at least get out of the way. And that's what kind of lit the fire under Governor DeSantis,
Oh, I
because he
got
said, well, if in Washington, if they would secure the border and if they would stop trying to take away people's livelihoods in Florida, because I'm going to stand in the way.
You know what?
Well,
All
but
that
the
all
thing
that
is you're not
says
helping
he didn't
anything.
call anyone by name. That just says he knows he's in the way and
Exactly.
he knows
He
he's
knows
in the
exactly.
fucking wrong.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he, and
There it is. I'm
Was
dro-
this about me? Oh, you did. You went a while.
I did. I went almost 40 minutes for dropping an F-bomb
141.
today.
Hey,
I set a new record today.
Yeah,
Nice
and
going.
when they are so wrong, they're immediately snapped up by Trump if they weren't ahead of time.
Oh yeah.
I mean that's your qualification.
Speaking of DeSantos, he
he has his trump card.
he has his Trump card, I'm sure. He
Sure
probably the
he
one with the
does.
misspelling and everything.
Exactly.
But he actually is denying that the state requested a whole bunch of ventilators.
Sure.
Apparently they had to get a bunch of ventilators because cases
Yeah.
are rising. People are getting put on ventilators in Florida.
Mhm.
But he's like, no, we didn't do that. That's a lie. That's fake news. It's
course.
like
Oh my
Wait,
god.
fake news. Where have we heard that before?
we have
Everywhere.
we can look at the documents that show they were shipped
The
to your
shipping
state.
labels. You're all hello.
We have doctors who received them. Come on, you big dummy.
It was the
That-
signature on there. Just no.
Right?
That FL, that is not Florida. What else could it
Yeah,
be?
yeah.
Foreign Legion.
There you go.
I like it.
The foreign legions were getting their
Oh, look who's
ventilators.
right on top of things.
Hey.
I like it. All
That's right. I showed up not inebriated this week. No, I'm
Oh,
playing. I
exactly.
never show up inebriated.
Yeah,
Never.
totally.
I mean,
Everybody
What
look at
about
the
the one
camera.
episode we
Except that one
talked about
time.
that where we
Let's all
want
look at the camera and say that in a
we're
straight face.
gonna come in here really drunk.
do the drinking.
Yeah, it's gonna be on Alcohol Awareness Month. I'm sure there's a month for that.
Yeah,
gotta
did
be.
we-
And
what was
we're
it,
gonna go.
March?
We're
Oh,
gonna
Red
go.
Ribbon Week.
We're gonna go across the
Great.
street
Yeah, yeah.
over to the Zebra Club for about an hour and a half beforehand and just start pounding shots and come and do our show really
Why
drunk.
can't we just do it here?
I don't think Nate wants
you
us
wanna-
getting drunk in his place.
Nate, how
Nate,
do you
what do
feel
you
about
think?
that? What do you think? See, I told you. We even forget you go walk across the street. What if you get hit by a car?
Man, look,
Oh.
all I'm
Liability.
saying is the idea is if we can't even function doing our show
Yeah.
drunk and just talking to microphones and
Yeah.
composing ourselves,
You know what I'm
we
gonna
shouldn't
choose?
operate a motor vehicle.
Well,
You know-
also, I think you build your audience, everybody in every bar around town eventually.
Oh, dude, yeah.
They'd show you on the big screen, can the football.
You know what I
That'd be
plan to
great.
bring?
What do you plan to bring? Scotch?
Scotch. October 23rd to the 31st is Red Ribbon Week. Red Ribbon Week this year.
All
Okay.
right.
So that's we could do it during Red Ribbon Week.
I'm gonna
So.
wear a big red ribbon and have a big red nose.
Red
There you
nose.
go.
Not like a clown.
No,
but I'm just saying,
totally.
I'm
No,
not
and I'm
too
wearing
much.
those-
He's like, that's my inebriated
No, and
nose.
I'm
Inebriated
telling you,
nose.
when they have those things at Walgreens, and I mean, I like it. I know what it's all about, and it's good for the kids and everything. But if you are trying to wait on me and you got that funky red nose on, there's a good chance that I'm going to turn around.
You're
and
walking
I'm-
away?
I'm not walking.
You
I'm
wouldn't
running.
do very well with Patch Adams then.
I'm running.
Oh yeah.
Forget walking.
Patch Adams view.
If I walk, somebody might come after me and catch
Now,
me.
what about this, Dave?
Okay, here we
Because I really am. I'm trying. I am no doctor. I'm not even. I don't even
You're
play one,
not?
and I don't even play one on TV.
Uh-huh.
But I am trying to understand your phobia of clowns. So let me take
You
it
know
to
the
this
name
level.
of it, right?
The psychological.
Is it what, clownophobia?
No.
What is it?
Coulrophobia. And it's
Okay.
real.
No, I'm
Yes,
not saying
it
it's
is
not.
real.
I'm
There's
just
an
trying
actual
to.
name.
No, and I agree it's real, and I'm just trying to understand it. What about if you're out there snorkeling? Okay, you're in the Bahamas, you're snorkeling,
Yes.
and you see a
Fish.
clownfish.
Oh God.
Is a clownfish going to set
Can
you
you
off?
watch Little Nemo?
Does it have like a?
No.
Does it look like a clown?
No.
I mean, it's just an orange
Haven't
fish
you
with
seen
blue
Little
stripes.
Nemo?
Very colorful. Yeah.
Probably years ago. I mean, my kids are
I'm
almost in
on
their
Little
30s.
Nemo. Hello.
Yeah. So a clownfish, just even though it's called a clown, would not bother
Yeah.
you.
No, it's
Thanks.
a orange and black and white
I
striped
doubt
fish.
it would bother me.
Okay, just making sure I wasn't. I'm now, so it's not the word.
It's
clown.
not got like
It's-
the
it's
makeup and the
makeup.
wig on, does it?
Hey, how did
No, no.
Then I'm fine.
Put makeup and a wig on a fish, Dave. I'd like to see you do that.
Then I'm just saying that. Why are you asking me this dopey question?
How
I'm
did
just
it
figuring
start?
it out. Yeah.
You just look.
He
for-
won't tell us.
You won't tell us that.
He won't let
tell
us know
the
how this
roots.
all
How'd you-
started.
Oh, you won't. Was it? Well, I
we
think
keep
let's
asking.
take
We're
a
trying to
guess.
figure it
I
out.
think it was the Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey Circus.
When he was young, like an
4
8-year-old.
years old, scared the bejesus out
Oh,
of
it's
him.
when
when
the
they
train
came out.
derailed and all the clowns came out and they're bloody. You probably saw
Or-
that.
Oh my
could've been.
gosh! Now you've gone extreme.
Clown zombies.
Mike might be honest. Is Mike at least close-ish to something there?
He might be on something.
With three
Ah,
Ringling Brothers.
Bozo
Oh,
the
see, there we go.
Clown.
Oh,
Ronald
there we go. Oh, it's
McDonald.
Bozo on TV.
Yeah, Bozo had his own
Oh,
show.
he was creepy.
Yeah.
He was.
He
really
wasn't even a
creepy.
good-looking clown. He was a creepy
Yeah.
clown with
He
his
was
little
like.
tufts.
He was
and-
creepy like Gracie. You
Hey,
know.
what's the Stephen King movie? It was
Oh,
fun.
It.
That's Bozo at
That's
old age.
Pennywise.
Well,
Uh-huh.
remember when the people they just
Burnout
made,
Bozo.
they just did
Burnout
an
Bozo.
updated version of it, right? And people are like, hey, are you going to check out this movie? I'm like, I haven't gotten over my fear from the first movie,
Oh no.
Oh yeah, yeah.
so no, I'm not going to see this
Pennywise
other
is
stupid
awesome,
movie.
man. And
I-
if
I-
you have a grate anywhere, you just put for Halloween, you put a red balloon sticking up out of that grate, and you've got your whole Halloween
Just
directions going
telling
right
you,
there.
man, if you were stupid enough to follow somebody down into a gutter, then you deserve something bad to happen.
Kind
to you.
of.
I don't
What
want
if-
you to die.
What if you? What if you come
what
out
the
of
hell
your?
are you thinking? You can just go knock on any door and get candy.
No,
What
Pennywise
if you
said,
come out of
"Here's
your
a bottle of
apartment and you see a
scotch."
balloon tied to the grate? Is that going to make you a little
Oh,
It's
nervous?
going to make me
creepy.
move.
We're doing that. Oh my gosh.
Definitely
Oh,
gonna
dude,
be, I'm
we're gonna
just
get
have to-
Every
balloons
grate.
gonna have to
Every
uproot my
grade,
stuff
it's
and
like
All the
5
way
blocks
out.
of his house.
next thing you know,
everywhere.
I'm gone, man.
But what if he was down there with a bottle of scotch?
Wouldn't matter.
He'd be like, "Hey, bottle of scotch."
I got
Hey,
my own
Dave,
scotch
got
until I
you-
drop it.
Got
So,
a joint.
Here's one about
Thanks for the
kids.
scotch, Dave. You fed me last time.
Thank you. He won't hurt you then because he'd be like, "Thanks, dude." I
Can
got
you
Here's
drop
one
me
of-
another
I got
bottle,
you.
Dave?
Do you
Here's
guys
one
have
about
do you
kids.
guys
homies.
have Nate out there laughing at it all the way
Yes,
you were
he
just
did.
coming at me?
I hope he is.
He
I
did, he
knew it.
was.
I knew
He
it.
was going for it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Here's
Here's
one
a-
about kids in scary movies.
Okay, okay.
Right? As a teacher, they always say, don't show that. They'll be disturbed. They'll become hoodlums and
Okay.
bank robbers and all this. So I would show movies like on Friday. We call it the Lions Club Cafe. You eat your
Ooh.
lunch inside. We watch a movie.
Like it.
And so they were all parentally approved, but little on the edge for me. And I'm like,
Okay.
oh, Jesus, so I'm watching it. I'm all paranoid and everybody
I
okay?
gotta
He's
turn
gonna
a
turn
psycho
you
killer.
In my
Yeah.
mind, are they
I'm
getting
creating a
are they
social
crying?
killer.
Are they
A serial
stressing
killer
out
right
all
now.
this? And the kid finally looked at me and said, Mr. Pickering, it's fake. It's make believe. This ain't really happening anywhere. And I'm like,
Really?
okay.
You're like, "Hey, let me go get your
It's
documentary."
not a,
I
it's
got
not a
this.
documentary club.
Oh, yeah.
What were some of the movies?
Oh,
Little Nemo. No, I'm
well,
just kidding.
no, we showed.
Isn't it Finding
we showed-
Nemo?
What's the
Finding
one
Nemo.
about Day of the Dead?
Oh, Dawn of
Dawn
the
of the Dead?
What's it called?
Dawn of the Dead.
No.
No,
this was
Dave, it was the
animated.
animated one. Yeah,
It was
oh,
animated.
I know
Oh.
that one too, and I
Coco.
can't.
They loved it.
Coco, yeah.
Coco. Oh yeah,
was the
That
one
was
with
a
Dia de la
great
Muerte?
Yeah,
film.
and
That
we
was
watched,
awesome.
pretty much whatever they wanted. It had to be like PG-13 or less.
Okay.
But here's the strange thing: I would now and then show a nature video. During the other shows, kids would be, nibbling their food, chit-chatting a little bit, kind of
Watching,
watching
yeah.
the movie.
Like you do at home.
When I showed a nature video, I swore they were riveted. It was dead silent.
Watching the lions eat the
nobody ate their
gazelle.
lunch.
Heck yeah, dude.
we had this one where it was some lions were going to eat a wildebeest, hunt it down and eat
See,
it.
dude, I would have been
No,
like,
no.
This is the greatest thing
lion,
ever.
go,
Yeah,
lion, go.
But what about vegetarians? So I'm like, and this was actually during class. We were studying something about Africa, and
Think those
So-
lions
so
will
I
occasionally
stopped. I
stop
said,
and
"Hey,
eat a
you guys."
cactus?
I said, "Hey, you guys, they're going to be hunting it. There could be blood. They're going to be tearing it apart.
They're
Is anybody
hungry.
not vegetarian or anybody
Can you back it up when that happens and play
not
it
want to
again?
see this?" And they all said, "No, it's okay." And so I show the
You
movie.
can pause it. Right?
They're hunting a wildebeest. Yeah, replay that over and over. No, and they kind of hid when it was actually killed, but you could see the hooves going up and the lions, And then they back up, they pan out, and here's like literally 1 million wildebeest.
And they're like,
And these
okay.
lions only took one, right? It just pulled it right into
Circle of
perspective.
life.
They said, it's not such a bad thing. Look at how many there are.
Population
Whereas,
control.
I mean,
Village-
everybody's got to eat.
Oh yeah. It
Lion
was
King.
interesting. Yeah. So
Same
When
way I
I-
feel about clowns.
When I was in,
Everybody's got to eat.
You just take one out, and there's still plenty of them left.
I guess, yeah.
When I was
there's
in-
not a clown shortage,
Take
is
one
there?
down and pass
No,
it around.
not yet.
Never,
Not yet,
never.
Dave.
All right.
so
See?
when I was in
So nobody's
grade
gonna miss one.
No, I would never miss a clown.
If there becomes a shortage, Dave, we know who's going to be behind it.
He's gonna have a bunch
Exactly.
of dead clowns in his
They're going to be
basement.
dead clowns. It's serial killer, but he's killing clowns only.
Oh, you'll dig one.
I have a walk-in closet.
Do a walk-in closet full of dead clown carcasses.
In
So-
his bathtub.
When I was in grade school in the
I
80s,
can't drain
in the,
it.
the late 70s and early 80s, the school they didn't really show movies like you were showing to your kids, but they had these on the reel, like the old
Oh, yeah. And the projection is
I
the
love that
projection,
thing.
yeah, the projector one. The one they would show every year was this one called The Lottery. It was a short story by
Oh,
Shirley Jackson. It was a
I'm-
black and white film. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
So they would show this every year, and every year, you know how it ends. They end up stoning that woman in the end.
Yeah.
And I would just laugh hysterically
Okay.
when that woman's like, "Here you go, Davy, throw this at your mom," and he's like throws a rock at his mom. It's like, that's freaking hilarious. And like
Yeah.
the teachers were always a little.
Oh,
I was the
yeah.
only one really laughing at this
And
violence.
they
happening.
create an atmosphere where it's incredibly tense.
Yes,
Almost.
yeah. And I'm just like, I don't know why they showed that to us every year. I almost felt like it was some kind of weird
Getting you
experiment.
deconditioned for Hunger Games.
I mean, could have been.
Yeah,
Could have
yeah.
been. If you haven't seen it, it's like you can find it on YouTube. Shirley Jackson's The Lottery. It's a scholastic film. I watched it as an adult, and I was like,
Why did we watch this?
yeah, and like
what
it's
the
cool,
hell?
and it's definitely nostalgic to look at. It takes me back to the first, second, third grade, both times, fourth and fifth grade. But you know,
yeah.
No,
it's
I've
weird.
never seen it. I'm
dude,
gonna have to go see it now.
look it up. It's pretty intense. It's real. It's basically the idea. The moral of the story is that all traditions aren't good traditions just because it's
Yeah.
tradition. It's just every year they had a lottery. Everyone puts every
Oh, yeah.
head of each family puts a dot inside the bucket. They draw one out, and whoever's family gets the white dot, everyone has to in the family has to put a dot in the bucket. Whoever gets the white dot there, the rest of the town just stones and kills that person. 'Cause that's
Okay.
a
So
tradition.
it is kind of like Hunger Games. There.
It
You just
really
put your names in the
kinda
bucket,
is.
here
But
we
it's
go.
kind of like that
It's like
Alfred
a
Hitchcock
redneck.
Twilight Zone
Yeah.
feel to it.
It's like if
You may
Hunger
not
Games
see
took place in Idaho in the 70s. That's
Why
what
are
you
we
had.
showing this to kids in first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade? Even sixth, seventh, eighth grade.
I mean, I was
I mean,
laughing
what is up
at
with
it.
that?
It was
I know, I-
funny. I thought it was hilarious. I
I
don't
love
know
horror
why.
movies, so I would be too. But I just don't
Yes.
understand what the what the reasoning is.
I never
behind it.
understood why. I almost felt like they were conditioning us to do
Public
some
school
weird
again.
shit.
Oh yeah. Well, back then it's when they would swat you with a wooden paddle. And
Oh,
all these
yeah, I
things. I had
remember-
a wood shop teacher. I swear on his wall, he must have had 12 different
Paddles?
designs for wooden
Wow.
paddles.
So he asked the teachers,
Pick
"Who's
your
gonna
paddle."
pick your
Yeah.
paddle?" Yeah.
Some were streamlined. Some had holes in them. Some had a little stamp that when you got done, there'd be this red stamp on your
Oh,
rump.
Oh,
you
they're
know?
branding
Being
you.
branded.
Oh
and-
yeah, yeah, it was
Mhm.
crazy.
Embedded in your ass.
You know what the hardest 3 years of Bill's life was, right?
Oh God.
First grade.
Fifth
No,
grade. hey.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's because he was falling behind.
That's right.
He was
I
getting
said,
left
yeah.
behind because he
That
couldn't
was
color in the
before the
lines.
No Child Left Behind.
Yeah,
He's
he
like,
couldn't color
Oh,
the
I
lines
don't
there.
can somebody get bushy?
I'm still behind. What are you talking about?
Exactly. I'm still trying to catch up. Fake it till you make it. C's
That's
get
right.
degrees, man.
That's right.
That's all you have to do is get C's all the way through. As I'm sitting next to an educator, I'm like, C's get degrees, kids.
No,
C's get degrees.
Sadly, I've seen a lot of kids get passed through. Myself, I got
Oh,
passed
yeah.
through a lot of times
Yeah.
when I shouldn't have been passed
And
through.
see,
I
that's what I was
tell
kind
you-
of talking about before is some of them get passed through
Oh,
the
yeah.
grades. And then you go into the college and you're like, oh yeah, I could totally take algebra 2. I got this. And it's like, yeah,
No,
no,
you
honey,
can't,
you're
yeah.
still trying to figure out what 2 + 2 is, but the teacher
Right.
didn't want to deal with you.
Like I ended up having to do the third grade twice. I was going through a time in my family life where things were really disruptive and I was sleeping in class. So I'm thankful my teacher had the nerve to be
Wherewithal
like,
to do it.
no, we're going to hold you back because
Yeah.
the school didn't want to do that because they
Yeah.
didn't get their funding or whatever for that student. And I'm like, I didn't want to get held back. So I'm like, screw this. That's
All
a
my friends are
failure.
going up. Yeah.
Yeah, but then I'm looking back. I'm like, I'm thankful someone had the foresight to try to do the right
Isn't it
thing.
amazing how adults, we always look back at stuff going, that was so awesome
yeah.
that they did
I,
that for
I can
you
tell
when,
you,
when
I can
happened.
tell you the one thing that if any kid that masters this, I guarantee you they can write their ticket. If you think how many times is a professor or a teacher talking to you one-on-one where it counts for your grade, how many times your multiple choice fill in the dot test mount for anything, it's how well you write.
Yeah.
Kids that can write well, man, I tell you, a lot of times those college essays, if they see a brilliance in the writing,
Yeah,
boom, that
there you
kid's
go.
in. Who cares about the grades?
Mhm.
And because it not only gives them where they can express their intelligence on paper, they get to where they can use their words orally the same way.
Yeah.
And so I always tell my parents, I said, hey, teach them to write.
Right, right.
And you have to teach them to love it. So you have to teach them poetry, fiction, stories, have fun, be crazy, have fun, enjoy the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Because these 5-paragraph essays that everybody reads, they're boring as can be. when you get them and you have to study from them, you basically highlight the facts, toss the rest of it away. But when they can write them creatively and add a narrative to it and add these really human things
Yeah.
that pull you in, that's the kid you
That
want.
story, yeah.
Absolutely.
We have a
Make a
commitment on this show to getting Bill to use his words.
Use
Oh,
his
okay.
words.
I use my words all the time. They
He
just all
does.
have 4 letters.
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah.
But isn't the saying like A students go to work for C students and B students go to work for the government?
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
Wow.
So my
I
husband's a
think I
B
heard that
student. Got
somewhere.
it.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. But I love the fact that the A students go to work for the C students. Because every time you'll see somebody's like, you stay up and you study and everything, and you're still just barely passing. And yet over here, you're skipping classes,
Yeah.
you're out there in the smoking area, you're doing this, you're doing that,
And you're having
and you're
fun.
acing
Everybody
your-
likes
and
you.
you're
Yeah,
acing
and you're
every
developing your
test.
personality.
Exactly.
I'm
You
like,
have
well,
social skills.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I hope you remember me fondly because at some point you're going to
You're
see
gonna
my
be like,
resume
oh, yeah.
on your desk.
Can you just remember me, please?
Exactly,
Yeah.
please. It's
You know
Nelson,
those,
Nelson, not Nelsen.
Yeah. China used
Phonies.
to have a pipeline into all the Ivy League, all the big schools. They
Mhm.
literally, boom, just send the kids in from probably about like 10, 11 years old. And what they were finding was all those kids had really troubling psychological lives. They didn't have social skills. They
Yeah.
didn't know how to go out with people. So they changed everything to where now they had to have clubs, things they were in. What are your
Extracurriculars, yeah.
private interests? What are your hobbies? Are you well-rounded?
Yeah.
Do you have friends? And just made all the difference in the world. But imagine those kids who that's all they did, stay up and study night
Stay,
after
stay,
night,
yeah.
get high scores. No high scores, mom and dad would not be happy. No telling what they
No, they got the paddle
Right.
down.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
I had
have
one
you-
kid, last thing.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. More
Joe,
things. Go.
He never missed a math problem, not one single thing till like November.
Nice.
And when he did,
Uh-oh.
he just sat there and tears
Oh.
started
Put him
just
over the edge.
going down his
Oh,
cheeks. He
man.
probably
All
got
that
like
pressure.
99% instead of 100.
Is-
Oh.
It was sad. His dad was a banker. He'd come in,
Ugh.
dressed sharp and clean, and is like, yikes, You really felt for Joe. When he went home, there wasn't playing, friends
Yeah.
coming
Sure.
over, birthday parties.
You were doing homework. Here we go.
Yeah, and I would always tell my family, I said, don't push them into being doctors and lawyers. Let them relax, enjoy it. Find what they love
Yeah.
to do. People who do what they love to do, they get good at it.
Mhm.
Whatever it is,
Doctor and lawyers too. Yeah.
and they're happy. Yeah.
I cried my way into a C in algebra 2, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
My senior year
I
of
hope
high
we get to
school.
hear it someday.
I want to tell one story before
Go.
we go. All right. So my senior year of high school, my freshman year, I almost dropped out. I had a point something GPA. It was terrible. I did no. I was going through some stuff in my life, and I just was going to drop out. And
Been
I was Sacramento High School. This is where I went.
Sac High?
Sac High?
Purple Dragons.
77.
93, baby. But it was also
He's
the
like, this is a
visual
little bit
and
apart.
performing arts
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
And so because I had some artistic stuff, the counselor's like, why don't we just put you in some of these classes? And the art classes
Yeah.
saved me. And by
Oh,
my
yeah.
senior year of high school, I pretty much had a 4.0. But the last quarter, they were telling me I wasn't going to graduate because I was short on some
Like math
English
or-
credits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, this is BS, dude. I'm doing great. I want to graduate. They're all, well, there's no 7th period you can take. I'm like, well, there's ESL. They're
Yeah.
like, no, that's English as a second language. I said my 18, because I turned 18 already. I'm like,
Oh, there you
so
go.
my smart ass self said,
Yeah.
you're going to discriminate against me because of my native tongue.
Oh,
And they're
wow.
like,
Oh,
Jesus.
man.
fine,
Yeah,
Bill,
go ahead.
fine.
You're
But
done.
it was actually really cool. I went in there
Here's your
and,
units.
and the teacher was just like, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm getting my English credit so I
Yeah,
can graduate.
yeah.
That's what I'm doing here. And actually, I got to work with a whole bunch of really cool
Oh, yeah.
Laotian kids. And it was awesome. I learned a lot about their culture.
Oh,
I
yeah.
helped them do applicable use of the
He
English
taught
There
him a
you
great
go. I was gonna say,
vocabulary,
I
I'm
taught-
sure.
I taught them
I was
the
gonna
fuck
say,
words.
Did
and
you
shit.
Exactly.
did you
call
teach
it-
them to talk like you did?
I did.
Exactly.
There's definitely a generation of Sacramento Laotian
Sac
kids
High
that
graduations.
learned how to cuss, hopefully in
you.
part from
Yeah.
me.
Like a sailor.
And that
That's
means I
good.
did my job right.
Well, they
Like,
say about the arts is artists love what they do. They don't make a lot of
Mhm.
money, but
Oh,
they
I don't make
love
any
what they
money.
do. Yeah,
He's-
yeah. But people who make a lot of money, they don't like what they do. They become
Uh-uh.
miserable and isolated.
Money
I,
doesn't buy
I used to make
happiness.
a bunch of money at a job that worked out for this guy, and that was just hell working for him. But besides
Yeah.
that,
No, it wasn't.
it wasn't hell working for him. Just that place was hell.
That place was held, not the
Those,
work.
those stories he was telling last week, about the tennis balls. And
Yes.
Yeah, that was true.
That was not you.
hand
You
to
still
God,
swear?
Big Star. First time hearing of this.
Okay.
I swear you were my boss during that time.
He's like, and,
I have
and
absolutely no recollection.
I,
of
I was
He's-
I was touched by that whole
he's
thing.
put
I
it
thought
in
it
the
was
back
great.
compartment of
I
his
was giving
brain of
you
like, I'm
credit
never
for
going to pull
that.
this back
Okay.
out again because I
But,
don't ever want to think
Now,
about
if you had
this.
talked about the pictures on your desk,
Oh God, there's a lot of inappropriate things that happen at
A
that
lot of
job.
pictures, a lot of inappropriate pictures. Okay. But the balls were nothing.
Well,
It
this
was
guy,
not you.
I'm gonna
Were
tell-
they drawn or were they?
They were. No,
photographs?
I had testicular cancer and I had to
Oh.
leave. They cut one of my nuts off. And I'm not
Yikes.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I came
It's
back
okay.
and there was a box of golf balls, a box of tennis
Oh.
balls, some marble. It was like,
And some of them are blue.
and I'm just
No.
like, yes,
thanks, peeps.
because I thought it was hilarious.
Once
thing in
again,
the
you
world.
guys. First time
I
hearing
wish
of
you
this.
could-
Why
I
would
wish-
you take credit for it, man? You'd be like, "Yep, that was me."
I really thought that was you. I really thought that was you all these years.
I have
I
absolutely,
You
think
had
he's
something to
repressed
do with it.
I
memory
have
going on
absolutely no
here.
recollection of that, Senator.
From coconuts to beads, I assume, right?
Everything you could imagine.
Did they put two or they only put one?
They put several, but they wrote lefty right across the top of my
Some
monitor.
of them
So
might have been mismatched.
yes.
Hey, we
Oh,
need to.
yeah.
Nate is giving us the circle,
Uh-oh,
circle. We
uh-oh.
need to
All right,
shut
shameless
up.
plugs. Let's go.
and
So this one,
finish.
tomorrow night, I'll be doing my first performance in Sacramento since
Woo!
before COVID at
Friday
the
the 13th.
Cafe Colonial
something?
tomorrow
Over on
night.
Stockton
Wow.
Boulevard, right?
I
Doors-
live close to that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
do I actually. It's weird. 7:00 doors open, $10 cover. There's gonna be 4 great acts on the bill that night. It's an early show. There's still, because of COVID rules, we're doing all masks. Everybody must mask up unless you're actively eating and drinking in the bar. You must wear your mask. And it's
your
gonna be over by
mask.
10:30. So it's gonna be early for anyone who doesn't want to be out in the middle of the night. But
Big star.
Awesome. My shameless plug is our watchers and viewers. All of you guys, we appreciate what you guys do for us watching us. And if you guys want to, suggest us or send a link to one of your friends, if each one of you send a link,
Please.
we can double our viewership and we can just keep growing
Yeah.
here. So thank
Let's
you guys
do
for
it.
watching and listening.
Plans are in motion. Sir.
Okay, mine has to be Momo's Meat Market on
Ooh.
Broadway.
Nice.
Oh my
I
god,
know that
the
joint.
best barbecue.
Mm.
They're only open 4 days:
Thanks for bringing
Wednesday,
up food.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They close early. You get there Friday at 6. Good luck on getting ribs. You got to call in.
Mm.
It's
so they're
the best.
open right now then.
Yeah. Plus, one thing they do
I
is they
can't
go
go.
out and they do federal assistance. They feed people who don't have any.
Oh, that's
One day a
awesome.
week.
I
They
want to
used to
support a company like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. and they're wonderful people. Yeah. It's a great
Definitely.
place.
Okay, and real quick for me,
Okay.
I wish I had gotten the lady's first name. I didn't, but I was at the Rush River Bel Air going back to my car, and I hear this, excuse me. And this lady says, I just wanted to stop and compliment you for your t-shirt. And I had the one on that said, racism is not born, it is taught.
Mhm.
And
Good.
she said that she took a second lap around the parking lot so she could, she wasn't
Come
sure
back
she
to
should
you.
do it at first because she could come back and we could talk for a minute. So very nice lady who met me in the parking lot at Rush River Bel Air. Thank you so much for taking the time to come around the second time so we could have a
Nice.
conversation. And I said, one of my favorite shirts to wear because every now and then people come along and they want to debate this with me. And much like our friend Michael, I said, okay, you go first because I don't need much time. Here's my argument. Go to the kindergarten playground. What do you see? All the kids playing together until what
Mhm.
happens?
Yeah.
Somebody comes along and tells them don't.
Yep.
Now,
Oh, yeah. It comes from the top down.
yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead, say
Trickle
whatever
down.
you want and now go back to your bigoted business. I've got people to talk to.
Trickle
So
down
very
racism.
nice lady. Gave her a card. I said, please
Shout out
check
if
us
you're watching.
Yeah. So again, hopefully we'll run into each other again. And that meant so much to me that she took the time so we could have a really pleasant conversation.
Racism, like all shit, rolls downhill.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love your t-shirts though. Every time I've seen you, you've
Exactly.
got
Yeah,
one.
it has
That's
one
why I
on.
I
came.
got a whole
That's why I
closet full of
came.
Mike's
said,
like, I got
okay,
this. I
I'll
got to
go.
save space. Here we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
We can do this.
So
Well-
thank you again, everybody. Thank you, Mike, for taking
Yeah,
the time
thanks
to
for
come
coming
hang
in.
out with us. Hope you're going to come
Very
again,
much. I
right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everybody
an
have a
education
great
discussion
weekend,
on
Bill.
it.
Yes.
Good luck with the show tomorrow night.
Thank you, man.
Exactly. Good stuff.
Good luck.
Yes, thank you.
Exactly.
Our side, hey, we're aspiring.
People out there, be good to each other. Like I said, it doesn't cost
Stay
anything to
safe.
give somebody a kind word.
Do something kind for someone this week.
Absolutely.
Random act of kindness.
Take care of each other, everybody, just like you take care of yourselves. Have a
All
good
right.
weekend.
Bye bye.
Until next
See you
time.
guys.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.